Ah, okay. Please, please allow me to be angry just for a little bit, because today I want to talk about AI. Word processors, specifically. Why'd the camera tilt like that? Hey, stop barking at me. I'm not doing anything wrong. Unless you want to get in on this. I know how much you hate AI. Word processors. You're just peeing. Okay. Fun fact about this bat, by the way, it's cracked right here. Because during my 100 subscriber special series on my main channel, I swung this bat and missed where I was intentionally aiming, and instead hit myself right under the kneecap, like right in that area where the doctor tests your reflexes. And I came at that so hard that it snapped the bat. And somehow the bat broke, but not my bone, which any kind of victory I can get over Mother Nature, I'll take. But I will not take this kind of victory that the robots are trying to make. Whenever I'm on YouTube or just the internet for that matter, I keep getting fed this constant stream of advertising from programs like Grammarly and these other kinds of word processing aids that use artificial intelligence or whatever to tell you how to properly construct your sentences, your word choice, diction, all sorts of things that people admittedly have a hard time with, because language is weird. I don't understand what you're saying, and that's the point, you freaking dog. I recognize that. I recognize that not everyone is able to properly express themselves through their desired word choices or sentence structures, or sometimes even lack the mechanics of how to create that sentence structure, or even just the tedium that comes with having to reply to certain things and write certain things. I understand all of that, but it doesn't remove this insidious feeling that programs like that give me. I might be playing up my anger a little bit, but this really does PMO. That's short for I loathe programs like Grammarly, and I feel sad when I see ads where they're trying to make these programs seem like tremendous aids that are benefiting the people who use them, when all it does is further remove humans from the very thing that they created for their own benefit, their own technology. We created language and structured language and built language as a way to try and connect with each other. And now in this corporatized and mecha-consumerized world, we're starting to feel that this very thing that actually helps bring us together and unite us and help us better understand one another, that now we want to hand that off to robots? Are you kidding me? I surely have a bias here because I write things, and the things I write aim to strike at parts of us that we might not understand, and a lot of times I don't even understand. And that's the fun of making stuff like this and learning how to use something like language as like a musical instrument, because people play musical instruments and we do not understand why hearing a G minor chord, for example, makes us feel however we do, and it's never the same feeling if you place that G minor chord around something else because of the context it's placed in. Language functions off of something similar, and there is such a rewarding and human feeling that comes with learning how to speak that language, learning the mechanics to how you can find the words that actually connect with the emotions you're attempting to convey, or even just to articulate the ideas that you're harboring inside of your head, because they're abstract. To be able to materialize the abstract is one of the biggest struggles in making anything inside of the natural world, for one. But then because of that, it also makes our use of language that much more interesting. When people choose to use certain words or to structure things a certain way, when it's a person doing that, you're learning a lot more about that person than you may think. But if we're handing off these simple choices of things like vocabulary, of syntax, of structure, paragraph-wise, sentence-wise, anything, if we're handing that off to robots and programs that think it should be a binary way, then all we're doing is robbing ourselves of that same experience and of that journey that we can take to actually learn about ourselves and learn how to better communicate for ourselves. These programs will never communicate in a way that's better than a human can. Even if that human puts a comma after every word, they cannot spell things that are over 3 syllables, and also if they do not word things in good ways. If we really cared about people speaking properly as like this grave thing for the continuation of humanity, then Boston as a city would not exist. And I think that would be a shame. That's the fun thing of language, is even if it's used incorrectly, you still get to learn a bit about that person. There's this continuized fetishization that people have with being uber correct, and on top of that also presenting things in a correct way and in an efficient way. And there are certain places where efficiency is fine and efficiency is good. And I get why, sometimes they try to pitch these things as ways to, respond to emails and all those monotonous things that aren't really fun in life but are just kind of necessary tasks in this gravely, unfortunately, digital world. I understand all of that, but in this growing modernized world that keeps becoming more mechanized and less human year by year, why is our first thing to try and disconnect ourselves from one another through something as simple and as beautiful as written and spoken language? Why are we not in our own difficulties of expressing ourselves, of finding how to word things? Why are we not able to actually look into ourselves and challenge ourselves to better find ways to word things? And I understand not everyone is going to be the best at it. Some people might struggle with it. But why can't that also be fine? Why are we so hyped up about trying to be correct about everything that we're handing off the greatest piece of technology that people have invented to the robots? I hate these programs. I wish Grammarly did not exist. I hate all of the other spin-offs that are coming from it. And I feel like everyone does too, because it will continue to spiral in ways that will piss us off more and are already pissing us off. Because how many times do you buy something from a place like Best Buy and then they send you the slightly wrong version of that product, and you have to go to customer support and figure out, hey, why did I get this when I should have got this? And then you're talking to someone named Tommy who isn't even a Tommy. Tommy is some server that's based outside of Guatemala and is just picking up on keywords you're mentioning to follow through on its database of queries and FAQs to provide you answers that are not substantial to the problem you're having and ultimately make you feel more unheard, because these AIs are, for one, they're artificially intelligent, as in they're not that intelligent. But then for two, they just do not understand the human experience, and they should never understand the human experience. And so handing these technologies of language and so on and so forth off to these robots that then just prevent us from actually looking at how we want to speak, how we want to express ourselves, even if we might not do it super eloquently, where we can't even allow ourselves to just speak potentially incoherently, potentially without any sort of cohesion to points that we're trying to make, or even a full picture of an idea we're trying to express. We can't let that be okay. We can't create an environment where people are allowed to mess up in that way so that they can better figure out how to better express themselves and speak about what it is that they're feeling and saying. No, it's just much easier to hand it off to a freaking Google Chrome extension that will just make it so you never have to figure it out. You never have to learn how you might want to use prepositions in sentences and thoughts, or how you want to structure a paragraph, or maybe you want to write a long sentence that just keeps going forever and ever, and it might be confusing to follow. God forbid you possibly do that, because these things, they will make you speak a certain way and write a certain way, and I think that's just cruel. It's inhumane, and it's not what writing and speaking and communicating are meant to be. It's meant to be something that is incredibly personal, even if it's things that aren't impersonal, like emails and just follow-ups and things like that. People appreciate when it's actual people engaging with them and putting their heart, even if it's just waxed in the necessary and just the cordial. People still respect that, and I think that these kinds of programs do not harbor that sort of introspection for people. They just try to hand off something that is deemed difficult because for whatever reason, instead of just language being something that every person tries to find their way around, and it being okay for them to, use incorrect words or phrase things confusedly, because those are parts of the experience that come with learning how to express yourself and what you want to express. And the more that we start handing these sorts of elements of our own humanity to AI and computer programs and stuff like that, the less we have to engage with it. That muscle atrophies, and at a certain point we start to lose sense of how to do it at all. And that would probably be one of the greatest tragedies of humanity and of any language. I'm not even just talking about English, Spanish, Italian, Arabic, Portuguese, all these other languages, they have their own rhythms to them too, and their own magic to them in that way, because that's just that's the incredible power of a technology like language and communication. I hate Grammarly. I will never take a sponsorship from Grammarly or any of these other AI word processing things, because I believe that they are truly detrimental to our society and do not help us in the way that we think they do. Okay, that's that. I'm done being angry. Thank you for allowing me this frustration, and I hope that I hope that maybe I changed a few hearts or got a couple of Grammarly's uninstalled from web browsers and programs. AI and computer and mechanization and stuff like that has its tremendous benefits, and it's a great tool when used correctly. But to quote myself from the video I did where I was talking about if streaming services are detrimental to art, let's not forget that the hammer is an incredible tool that, when used correctly, can be incredibly useful. But the man who invented the hammer did not intend for that hammer to be used as a murder device. It just so happens that you could make it that. Tools are not inherently bad in their invention, but in their use and application, if not handled correctly, they can prove detrimental. And I think that's kind of the path that some of these AI things are on. We should not hand ourselves over to the machines that easily. This has been our world and our society for thousands of more years than the computer chips. If anything, they should have to work a little harder and a little longer before they eventually take us over. That's my piece. I got nothing else to say right now, but I will some other time. This got stuck on a stick. Where'd those dogs go?